This is your host, Danny, and this is Grammar from English Plus Podcast. In this episode, we're going to continue talking about learning the tenses. We talked about the present simple, the present continuous, the past simple, and the past continuous. And last time we talked about the present perfect. This time, it is time to talk about the present perfect continuous. Are you ready? Let's get started and talk about the present perfect continuous. But before we do that, let me tell you about a couple of things you need to know about English Plus Podcast. We have premium episodes that you can subscribe and listen to. There are two ways. There is Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts if you want. The link is in the description. Or you can decide to become a patron of English Plus Podcast. And by doing that, you will not only get our premium episodes, but you will get every single issue of English Plus magazine. The first issue is out, and it is a weekly magazine, so you will get a new issue every week if you become a patron of English Plus Podcast. Now, with that being said, let's not waste any more time, and let's talk about the present perfect continuous. Now, let's start talking about the present perfect continuous by giving you this example. Now, you may look outside and say, is it raining? Is it raining right now? And you look outside, no, it's not raining, but the ground is wet, so it has been raining. It's been raining. It's been raining, that is not it is been raining. It has been raining. First of all, before we talk about the meaning and why we use that, how do we form the present perfect continuous? Well, since it is perfect continuous, so it has something in common with perfect and with continuous. The thing in common with the perfect is that there is the modal verb have. Obviously, we use have with I, we, they, or you, but with he, she, it, we use has because it's present perfect, remember? And the thing in common with the continuous that the main verb is in ing form. So here, it has been raining. And now you will be asking about what is this been? Well, been is the past participle of verb to be. And if you want to create any continuous in any tense, you will need verb to be. Since it's perfect, so it comes in the perfect form. It has been, that is verb to be in perfect, and then the main verb is in ing. It has been raining. Easy, no? It's easier than the present perfect because the present perfect you will have to worry about irregular verbs. But here you don't have to worry about irregular verbs. All the verbs are in ing and there's no irregular thing about that. But you need to remember it is have or has been and then the main verb with ing. So that takes care of the form of the present perfect continuous. But let me get back to this example I started with. Now I asked, is it raining? That's present continuous. Is it raining? Like right now? You look outside, or maybe you are outside, doesn't matter. And obviously, it is not raining. So you say, no, it is not raining. But the ground is wet. So it has been raining. We use the present perfect continuous for an activity that has recently stopped or just stopped. Let me give you a couple of more examples. Why are you out of breath? Have you been running? At this very moment, you're not running. I'm looking at you. Maybe you're standing in front of me, but you're out of breath. So I ask you this question, have you been running? I use the present perfect continuous. Have you been running? Because this activity obviously has recently stopped or just stopped because you're out of breath. What have you been doing so that you are out of breath? I will have to say that again and again. Yes, when we talk about perfect, some actions might look like they've happened in the past or something, but the result is always in the present. I can see the result. You are out of breath. Why are you out of breath? Have you been running? Or I can just ask a general question. What have you been doing so that you are out of breath? The result is in the present. But we can think about it in simple terms, and we talk about activities that has recently stopped or just stopped. Let me give you another example. Paul is very tired. Now, he is tired. Look at him. He looks tired. He's not doing anything now, but he has been working hard. He's been working hard. That's why when you look at him right now, you can see that he is very tired. I can ask you, why are you so tired? You look tired. Well, maybe at this very moment, I'm looking at you. You're not doing anything. but you look so tired. What have you been doing? What have you been doing so that you look this tired? Or, I've been talking to Amanda and she agrees with me. Now, when did this happen? Now, obviously, I'm not talking to her right now, but this activity has recently stopped or just stopped. I've been talking to Amanda and she agrees with me. Another example, where have you been? I've been looking for you. Well, obviously, you're not looking anymore because you found me, you're talking to me. But what have you been doing just before now? What is this activity that has recently stopped? You've been looking for me. And you say, I've been looking for you. Where have I been? I've been looking for you. So you see, we use the present perfect continuous to talk about activities that have recently stopped or just stopped. But of course, that is not everything. The activity may still be going on, and we will talk about that next. So, yes, you say that the ground is wet, it has been raining. But what if it is still raining? Well, you can simply say it is raining and that's it. But what if you want to focus on how long this thing has been happening? You can say it's been raining for 2 hours. Well, you can't say it's raining for 2 hours. It doesn't make any sense. It's raining now. When you want to focus on how long this thing has been happening, it has been happening for or it has been happening since. We can use for and since as well here. We use the present perfect continuous. What am I saying here? It's been raining for 2 hours. It began raining 2 hours ago and it is still raining. So the present perfect continuous is not always used only for activities that have recently stopped or just stopped. We can use the present perfect continuous to talk about activities or actions that started sometime in the past and are still happening. Like this one. It's been raining for 2 hours. It began raining 2 hours ago and it is still raining. And again, remember, we don't use the present continuous only here because the present continuous only talks about what's happening at the moment of speaking. There is no connection between two times, the past to the present. That is perfect. That is not just continuous. That is why we use the present perfect continuous, because it began raining 2 hours ago and it is still raining. So how long has it been raining? It's been raining for 2 hours. It has been. Remember, it's been, that means it has been. Don't confuse that with it is. It has been raining for 2 hours. Now we use the present perfect continuous in this way, especially with how long, for, and since the activity is still happening. Let me give you some more examples. How long have you been learning English? Because you started sometime in the past, I know that. I don't know exactly when you started, that's why I'm asking you, how long have you been learning? I know that you started sometime in the past, and I know something else, that you are still learning English. So that's why I can ask you this question about learning English, which started in the past and it's still happening at this moment. So, how long have you been learning English? Some people might say, I've been learning English for 2 months, 2 years, 3 years. It doesn't matter. I can answer this for myself. I've been learning English for a very, very long time because I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Sometimes when I teach you about something, I learn about it myself. And that's where the motto of English Plus Podcast comes from. Never stop learning about English and about other things. But now let's move to another example. Ben is watching TV. Yeah, okay. We're just talking about what is Ben doing right now. He's watching TV. But if you want to talk about how long he has been watching TV, you use the present perfect continuous. He's been watching TV all day. Do something about it. Tell him to stop. Tell him to do something else. There is life going on. Not everything is happening on TV. Tell him to turn it off or something. He's been watching TV all day. Here, it's not just what he is doing at this very moment. No, I'm talking about what he has been doing all day. So he started maybe early in the morning, and now, 10 hours later, he's still doing the same thing. So he's been watching TV all day. Now for another example. Chris hasn't been feeling well recently. And guess what? He's still not feeling well. It is not something that happened and it's over. He hasn't been feeling well recently, and this problem is still going on. By the way, we can use the present perfect continuous to talk about recent problems. Like when you say, I haven't been getting enough sleep recently. I haven't been able to concentrate recently. I haven't been able to do exercise recently. So you can talk about recent problems because they are not permanent. You don't say, I can't concentrate, like you're saying all the time. No, I used to be able to concentrate, but now, or recently, I haven't been able to concentrate. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's something else, but something has been happening recently and it is a problem for me. And it is still happening. I'm trying to figure out a solution for this problem. So you can use the present perfect continuous to talk about recent problems as well. And I will have to say that like every time. Remember that tenses are your tools. Tenses are at your service. Think about what you want to say. Think about the meaning that you want to convey and then pick the right tool for the job. And here I'm talking about tenses. Well, obviously, we haven't talked about all the tenses yet, but we will when we finish this mini-series. But even after we finish all the tenses in English, that doesn't mean that this alone is going to make your English better. No, you start with the idea that you have in mind. You start with the meaning that you want to convey, and then you learn the best tool for this meaning, the best tool for the job. So if you want to talk about recent problems that are still happening, and this is something common that we talk about all the time, we can use the present perfect continuous. How about that? Now, that being said, we can use the present perfect continuous for repeated actions. For example, Sylvia is a very good tennis player. She's been playing since she was 8. Maybe at this very moment she's not playing. I'm not saying she's been playing all day long. No, maybe she's not playing. Maybe it's her day off. Maybe she's just taking a break for a couple of days. I don't know. But I know that I'm talking about a repeated action since she was 8. She has been playing. Another example. Every morning they meet in the same cafe. They've been going there for years. It is a repeated action. Now, let me compare present continuous and present perfect continuous, and you can see how slightly different they are. I will start with the present continuous. Don't disturb me now, I'm working. How about present perfect continuous? I've been working hard, now I'm going to have a break. When I just said I'm working, I'm telling you what I'm doing now. And guess what? Maybe I'm not going to stop anytime soon, so don't disturb me. That is the focus. The focus is I'm telling you what I'm doing at the moment. I'm not saying that I'm tired or something or I want to stop. I'm just telling you what I'm doing right now, so please don't disturb me. But in the second one, I'm telling you about something that has a result. I've been working hard, now I'm going to have a break. I'm tired now. I want to have a break. Let me give you another example.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looking to enhance your English skills while exploring a world of knowledge? Then English Plus Podcast website is just for you. Dive into diverse topics ranging from science to literature, history to business, and myths to modern insights. Each episode from our podcast or article from our magazine is a journey of learning and discovery, designed to not only improve your language skills, but also broaden your understanding of the world. Join us at English Plus Podcast, where language meets limitless learning. Tune in today and take your English to the next level. Visit EnglishPlusPodcast.com to start your journey. English Plus Podcast, language, learning, enlightenment. Never stop learning with English Plus. It's raining. We need an umbrella. It's a simple thing. It's raining. You look outside. It's raining. Let's get an umbrella. As simple as that. No relation to the past. I'm just talking about what I can see. It is raining. We need an umbrella. As simple as that. But look at this example. The ground is wet. It's been raining. There is an extra layer of depth in the sentence. It's been raining, and that's why we can look outside and see that the ground is wet. Well, it's not genius or something. Anybody can know that, but I'm saying that it is a little bit more complicated than just look outside and talk about what you can see. It's different. Another example, hurry up, we're waiting. Simple, we're waiting for you, hurry up, that's it. But if you want to talk about how long, you can say, we've been waiting for an hour. And we're still waiting. Where are you? You see, there is an extra layer of meaning with the present perfect continuous that you can't convey by just using the present continuous. I'm not saying that the present continuous is not possible. No, it is possible. But again, you decide. Do you want to convey a simple meaning just like that? Hurry up, we're waiting. Or do you want to add a layer of meaning and you say, we've been waiting for an hour. Where are you? All right, so now that we've had a good idea how we can use the present perfect continuous, let's start comparing the present perfect continuous with the present perfect simple. Because again, in many situations, you can use both, but the meaning, or actually the focus, is different. That is coming next. So, present perfect continuous and present perfect simple. Let's take a look at these two simple examples. One in the present perfect continuous, I've been painting my bedroom. And the second one is in the present perfect simple. I've painted my bedroom. Can we say which one is right, which one is wrong? Well, both of them are right. Both of them are possible. I'm not saying right or wrong. Try not to think about tenses as right or wrong. Both are possible. But what is the difference in the meaning? Now let's dig in a little bit deeper and find out. Let's start with I've been painting my bedroom. That's the present perfect continuous. Now let's say that this is Kate. There is paint on Kate's clothes. She has been painting her bedroom. Now, we are thinking of the activity. It does not matter whether it has been finished or not. That's not what we're trying to focus on. The focus is on the activity. We are thinking about the activity and the activity alone. We see paint on her clothes. She's been painting her bedroom. That's it. That is present perfect continuous. Now, in this example, the activity, which is painting the bedroom, has not been finished. And that is something you need to know, of course. When you say, I've been painting my bedroom, you are conveying that the activity is not finished yet. Maybe you're not painting at this very moment, but you're still not done. But when you say, I've painted my bedroom, the bedroom was green, now it is yellow. She has painted her bedroom, it's done. We're talking about something that happened in the past, but it has connections to the present. Talking about the bedroom was green, now it is yellow. There is this connection. But I'm talking about a finished action. Has painted is obviously the present perfect simple. Here, the important thing is that something has been finished. She has painted is a completed action. We are thinking about the result of the activity, not the activity itself, the painted bedroom. That is the focus of this example. So, when I say she's been painting her bedroom, maybe I want to talk about the activity to tell you that this is the activity that's been going on recently. That's why you can't see her, etc., etc. But when I say she has painted her bedroom, I'm focusing on the finished activity. I'm focusing on the bedroom itself. Go upstairs and look at the bedroom. It looks wonderful. She's painted it. I'm not focusing on the activity. I'm focusing on the result. If you want to focus on the result, use the present perfect simple. If you want to focus on the activity itself, and remember that the activity in most cases is not done yet, you can use the present perfect continuous. Let's compare some more examples to have a better idea what I'm talking about. My hands are very dirty. I've been repairing my bike. That's why you look at my hands, you can see they're very dirty. And here, the meaning I'm trying to convey, that I've been repairing my bike, that's why you can see my hands are dirty. And as I'm focusing on the activity, I'm telling you that it is not done yet. If I want to focus on the completion of the activity, the result, and that the activity is done, I use the present perfect. I say my bike is okay again now. I've repaired it. I have repaired it is different from I've been repairing it. What I'm saying here that I've finished repairing it. I'm focusing on the result. Another example. Joe has been eating too much recently. He should eat less. Well, I'm concerned about Joe. Remember? I told you that we can use that for recent problems. Joe has been eating too much recently. The focus is on this activity, which I see as a problem. He should eat less. That is my focus. But what if I say somebody has eaten all the chocolates? Am I concerned about this person's health? No, the box is empty. I wanted to eat chocolate and I couldn't find any. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the result. Here, I'm conveying the idea that I don't care about this, or I don't actually see it as a problem or no problem. That's not the point. The result is that the box is empty. Maybe Joe has eaten all the chocolates. I don't know. But somebody has eaten all the chocolates. The box is empty. That's the result that I'm focusing on, and that's why I use the present perfect simple. Another example. It's nice to see you again. What have you been doing since we last met? Well, what am I asking about? I'm asking about the activities that you've been doing recently. That's what I'm interested in. But if I'm interested in something else, Like, for example, where's the book I gave you? What have you done with it? I am interested in the book. I don't care what you've done with it, but I'm interested in what happened to the book. What have you done with it? Not what have you been doing with it. What have you been doing with it implies that I'm interested in the kinds of activities that you've done with the book. No, I'm interested in the book now. I just care about my book. Where is it? What have you done with it? Not what have you been doing with it. I'm not saying what have you been doing with it is wrong, but the focus is different. Remember, what do you want to say? If you want to focus on the book and what happened to the book, use the present perfect simple. If you want to focus on the activities that I might have been doing to the book, so you can ask me, what have you been doing with the book? But here it makes more sense to say, what have you done with it? Now, one more example. Where have you been? Have you been playing tennis? Maybe I know you. I know that you usually play tennis, and I can see that you're wearing your sports clothes, and maybe I could see a racket or something. I can ask, have you been playing tennis? Maybe I wanted to play too. Why didn't you tell me? Or something like that. But I'm interested in what you've been doing recently, and here it happens to be tennis. Have you been playing tennis? But what if I want to ask you about tennis and I don't know if you play tennis or not? I want to say if you've ever done this before. And remember, when we talked about the present perfect simple, we said that we can use the present perfect simple to talk about lifetime experiences. And by saying lifetime experiences, we do not mean big things. It can be anything. Playing tennis is just an example. I can ask you, have you ever played tennis? Now here, have you ever played tennis? Definitely, I have no idea if you play or not. Because if I know that you play tennis, I wouldn't ask you this question in the first place. I would ask you, when was the last time you played tennis? Or maybe like the first example, have you been playing tennis? But I would never ask you, have you ever played tennis? When I ask you, have you ever played tennis, present perfect simple, that means I have no idea if you played tennis before or you didn't. I'm asking you about a lifetime experience. And when you want to ask about lifetime experiences, you use the present perfect simple. So that is also an obvious difference between the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous. Now let's focus on using how long or how much. And here we will see that the difference, or another obvious difference between the present perfect continuous and the present perfect simple, is whether the action is still happening or if the action is completed. So let's start with the action that is still happening. I can ask you, how long have you been reading that book? I can see that you have a book that you are reading and you're still reading, you're not done. But you know, the last couple of times I visited you, I saw the same book in your hands and you were reading the same book. And today, again, I see the same book. So how long have you been reading that book? Aren't you done yet? Maybe you say, I've been reading it for 2 weeks, for 2 years, I don't know. But what's the thing that really matters here, and that's why we use the present perfect continuous, is that you're still reading the book. How long have you been reading the book? That means you're still reading the book. But if I want to talk about completed actions, I'm going to say, for example, how many pages of that book have you read? Have you finished reading? So if I want to talk about completed actions, I use the present perfect simple, not continuous. Another example. Amy is writing emails. She's been writing emails all morning. Now, if someone says that to you, what are you supposed to understand? Is she still writing emails? Yes, absolutely. She's been writing emails all morning and she's still doing it. But if I say Amy has sent lots of emails this morning, what are you supposed to understand here? Is she still sending emails? No. She has sent lots of emails this morning. It is done. The action is completed. One more example. They've been playing tennis since 2 o'clock. They've been playing tennis since 2 o'clock and it's 5 o'clock. 3 hours, man. Unbelievable. I can never do that. Why? Are they still playing? Absolutely. That's why I use the present perfect continuous. They've been playing tennis since 2 o'clock. But what if I want to talk about 3 times this week? They have played tennis 3 times this week. It is done. I'm telling you about how many times. When you want to talk about how many times, you don't usually use the present perfect continuous because it doesn't make any sense. When you want to talk about times, you're talking about completed actions. They have played tennis 3 times this week. Now imagine you're saying, I've been reading 3 books. Well, I've been reading 3 books is not wrong. Again, I'm telling you, it's difficult to find something wrong in grammar, but you find weird things. because that is weird. I've been reading 3 books. What does that mean? At the same time? You're holding them all at the same time? Or maybe not at the same time, but have you started reading 3 books at the same time? I mean, usually you would start reading a book, you finish the book, and then you start another book. That is usually, but some people might read simultaneously different books. I don't know. But if you want to say, I've been reading 3 books, that means you are reading them at the same time. So maybe here you want to say, I've read 3 books this month. Makes sense. You're talking about completed actions. One more example. I'm learning Spanish, but I haven't been learning it very long. So don't expect me to speak Spanish now. Well, I know a couple of words because I haven't been learning it for very long. What am I talking about? I'm talking about an action that is still happening. I'm talking about the activity. The focus is on the activity. But what if I say, I'm learning Spanish, the same example, and even the same situation, but I'm talking about what I have completed or what I have not completed. So I can say here, but I haven't learned very much. I'm telling you about the result, the completed action. How much have I learned? Not much. I haven't learned very much yet. So that is about the present perfect continuous and the present perfect simple. One last thing before I finish this episode, let me remind you guys that some verbs are stative. Stative verbs. We talked about stative verbs when we talked about present continuous. If you want to check out this episode, you can find the first 2 episodes, present simple and present continuous. We talked about stative verbs and when we can use them in continuous and when we cannot use them in continuous. Usually we use them in simple, not in continuous because they're stative, they're not actions. And guess what? That applies to present perfect continuous too. Well, actually that applies to any continuous. When we use stative verbs that are not normally used in continuous forms, well, they're not normally used in continuous forms. I didn't say present continuous or past continuous or future continuous. No, any continuous. So if you want to say here, for example, I've known about the problem for a long time, you would say for a long time and you still know about it, so that is present perfect continuous. Why don't you say I've been knowing about the problem for a long time? Because know is not an action verb. Know is a stative verb. And here it doesn't matter what you're trying to say. What really matters is that the verb itself is not an action. The meaning of the verb in this sentence is not an action. And if it is not an action, no activity here, we can't use continuous. Continuous is only for actions, activities, not for states. Another example, how long have you had that camera? Well, you still have it, right? And I'm asking you about it. So something started in the past continues to the present. That's present perfect continuous, no? Why don't I say, how long have you been having that camera? Well, have you been eating it? If I say that, that would mean you are eating the camera. And obviously that doesn't make sense at all. Because having, when it comes in the meaning of eating or something else, it can be used as an action because it's an action. But here, I'm talking about a possession. That is a stative verb. So we can't use it in continuous. We have to say, how long have you had that camera? The meaning might work for present perfect continuous, but we can't use the verb in the continuous. That's why we don't use it in the continuous. So I hope I made the present perfect continuous a little bit easier, and I hope now you can use it and you can think about what you want to say and you have more tools to say what you want. That being said, let me thank you very much for listening to another grammar episode from English Plus Podcast. And I will remind you one more time that you can subscribe to our premium episodes and have access to all our premium episodes on Apple Podcasts or become a patron of English Plus Podcast. And then you will have all the premium episodes and also you will have every single issue of English Plus magazine, which is a weekly magazine. With that being said, again, this is your host, Danny. Thank you very much for listening to another episode from English Plus Podcast. I will see you next time.